What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to you all as often as possible with as many interviews, great debaters, commentaries, and these first and 15th as possible. Now, today on the first and 15th, I want to talk about the Hip Hop Olympics. And I call it that because, in a lot of ways, hip hop was so prevalent at the Olympics in a way that had never been done before. And I have some personal connections to the two of the main things, breaking and Snoop Dogg. On the breaking side of things, it was pretty awesome because I was able to interview breaking contestant Sunny Choi back in September of 2002. She had won the Red Bull event here in Los Angeles, the Red Bull Cypher, and I was able to attend that. And then I interviewed her for Flood magazine. Shout out Randy Bucosta for that. But I was able to interview Sunny for Flood magazine. And when I did that interview, it was pretty amazing because Sunny was talking to me about how that Red Bull event in Los Angeles was so significant to her because not only did it get her to the World Finals, which were taking place in November of 2022, but it also marked the first time that her mom had come to support her in person and watch her compete at one of the events. So to be there myself, but then to also understand how much that meant to Sunny was pretty remarkable. So right there, that made the article that I did for Flood on Sunny even more interesting. But then I remember too that Sunny didn't start off being a B-girl, when she was a kid. She started off as a gymnast. And one of the things that made her gravitate towards breaking was that when she went to college at University of Pennsylvania, she needed something to kind of break her routine, and she had found gymnastics. Part of the reason she stopped, one was injury, but two, she felt very limited because gymnastics, of course, is very regimented. You have to do very specific things in very specific ways. But with breaking, Sunny found that she was able to express herself, be more spontaneous, freestyle, as you could say, and able to really get down in a lot of different ways. And it gave her a different type of release and a different type of pleasure, which is why she gravitated toward it so much. And I thought that was pretty awesome that as a college student, she was able to find something that made her feel much more unencumbered than the rigidness that she felt while she was participating in gymnastics. I also thought it was great that she was able to develop this love for something like breaking later in her life, because most people start much younger than when they're in college. But she was able to use that love and turn it into something that then got her to the Olympics. And as Sunny unfortunately didn't end up getting a medal for the Olympics. But one thing that blew me away and that I'll always remember is when I was watching the male competition that they played the Showbiz A.G instrumental for Party Groove, which blew my mind. I never would have imagined when that song was coming out in 91, 92. And in 2024, breaking would be an Olympic sport. You'd get medals for it. But then on top of that, that Party Groove would be an instrumental used for the breaking competition. Now, of course, Showbiz and A.G are tremendous artists and definitely worthy of that. But since they're underground New York artists, they weren't going gold and double platinum, but it was just amazing to see that they were appreciated and highlighted in such a dramatic way. So that was pretty awesome to see at the Olympics, and that's something that I'll always remember and a memory that I'll have etched in my brain here in Party Groove at the Olympics. As the men were competing in the Olympics, one of the things that also stood out was, of course, Snoop Dogg was one of the ones watching the men compete in the Olympics in particular that I saw at the breaking. And this is amazing because, of course, Snoop Dogg, coming from hip hop culture, being one of the iconic and best rappers of all time in the game, to have him at the Olympics is one thing, but then NBC realized Snoop's universal appeal. Snoop is probably somebody who transcends and translates so much and breaks down so many barriers. Yes, he's a hardcore gangster rapper from Long Beach, California, but Snoop Dogg is revered and respected by so many people around the world in so many different walks of life. And NBC clearly realized that because they had Snoop as this correspondent to where he was watching events, he was doing all these different things. He carried the torch, the Olympic torch, which was amazing. And as a side note, that was even more special to me because in 1996, as a young youth, as the Wu would say, I worked at the Olympics in Atlanta, and I was able to be in the Olympic Stadium when Muhammad Ali was lighting the torch and holding it. So to be there in person for that event, and then fast forward all this time to be able to see Snoop Dogg carrying the Olympic torch was phenomenal. And Snoop wasn't just doing that. Of course, he was watching these events and he was doing in studio interviews with Mike Tirico. He got swim lessons from Michael Phelps, which I thought that video was hilarious. He was watching the gymnastics competition. He was chilling with Martha Stewart. He was doing all these different things. And Snoop being Snoop, if that was just it, that's all. But it wasn't. There's so much more in store. And one of the things that I thought was particularly savvy that Snoop did was give Simone Biles, his dad, a Death Row Records chain. And this is significant to me because it made me think back to LL Cool J with the FUBU, where he said, "For us, by us on the low" in his commercial for Gap. So LL's endorsing the Gap, but famously mentioned FUBU as he's wearing a FUBU hat in the Gap commercial. So Snoop Dogg is getting paid by NBC and in front of hundreds of millions of people watching the Olympics worldwide. And he's giving Simone Biles, his dad, for a birthday gift, a Death Row Records chain. And this is amazing because Snoop is cross-promoting his brands. He's obviously intimately involved with Death Row Records now, and he's promoting the brand and the label and the music in a way that probably is unprecedented, in the sense that people like myself and maybe older or even around my age that remember the great music that Death Row Records put out, whether that's The Chronic or Doggy Style, or Amir Rahimi and me just did a great Debaters on the Above the Rim soundtrack. There's the link. You can catch it right there. You know, Death Row put out so much great music, and now people may want to stream it again, or if they're into actually having a physical product, you know, a lot of the stuff is keeps being released on vinyl and CD now, and even some cassettes, or you can just buy it used. But Snoop Dogg used his opportunity that NBC provided for him and to him with the Olympics to promote Death Row in a way that I thought was rather ingenious. So pretty hilarious. And then as the Olympics were closing, we get more Snoop Dogg because as part of the closing ceremony, we get Snoop Dogg performing on the beach. And I read and heard it was actually in Long Beach, where Snoop is from. But Snoop was performing as part of the closing ceremony kickoff to launch the Los Angeles Olympics in 2028, where you had Red Hot Chili Peppers, you had Billie Eilish, and you had her, and then Snoop Dogg. And Snoop Dogg, in a way, during his performance, kind of recreates the video from Drop It Like It's Hot, where he had the girl dancing, he had the beach cruiser, and then the added wrinkle of the Sphinx with the dog heads, I thought was brilliant on so many levels, and hilarious, of course. But then Snoop, as he often does, took it to the next level with the next episode by bringing out Dr. Dre to perform with him. And this was particularly incredible because obviously Dr. Dre is his mentor, his friend, and somebody that helped get Snoop in the game and has produced many of his best songs, and has also worked with Dre on many of Dre's best songs. But then on top of that, they have the long rumored, long discussed, long in the works Missionary album that they've been working on. So maybe this was also whetting a worldwide appetite for that album to be coming soon. Regardless, it's always great to see Dre and Snoop together. I've had the fortune of seeing them perform several times over the years together. And this is just another great example of why they work so well together. Two of the best in the game, doing what they love and doing it at a high level. So, you know, we have breaking, which I thought was phenomenal. We have Snoop Dogg, which I thought was phenomenal, which is why I think this is really the hip hop Olympics, and being done in a way that really pays tribute and homage and shows how pervasive, how ubiquitous hip hop culture has become, to where now one of the four elements of hip hop culture, the main four elements, is breaking, and now it's an Olympic sport. So, man, hip hop really did make it this far. It's great to see, and you know, it's just something to celebrate, and I'm grateful to be part of it every day. That's why I wanted to talk about it here on the 1st and 15th. Definitely hit us up in the comment section. Let us know what you think about this video and all of our other content on Unique Access Entertainment. If you watch one video, try to watch one or two more so we start showing up in your algorithm and in your views, so you get more of our content naturally. Of course, if you like, subscribe, share, you'll start getting us more naturally as well. You can follow me on all social media at Soren Baker. and definitely check us on the 1st and 15th. Appreciate your support.